if I poured you a drink, would you sit down and talk with me? Lend me your ear and I'll bring you along. We can split the day rate 50-50. Oh, baby, I get by. Oh, and all I need is somebody, yeah. Oh, I'm gonna get high. Oh, 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 oh. Baby, I need somebody. Oh, all I need is somebody. Oh, I'm gonna get high.
Welcome to the PRO EDU podcast. We talk and drink with your favorite artists. So grab yourself a cold sarsaparilla, take your pants off, kick back, and enjoy. I don't know about you, I take comfort in that.
All right, we are live, back with our third week. We are continuing to interview badass artists every single day, and today I'm joined with Eugnell, a fine art portrait photographer based in Oklahoma City. Eugnell, thanks for joining.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here. Really excited to talk to y'all today.
Yeah, so your work, which we'll get to through your Instagram in a minute, is incredible. And you call yourself a fine art photographer, but there's definitely some feelings of like Greek, gods, angelic, heavenly. It's a very specific style. So, after looking through your Instagram, if someone were to post something similar, you kind of have like what a lot of people want is, and like, you've got a style and you've got a recognizable style. So let's start there. Is that intentional and why you're shooting the content that you are?
Yeah, especially the kind of the more Renaissance-y style, the old painterly style. That's a lot of what I was influenced by, especially when I was I've been in art. I've been studying art probably since I was about 5 or 6 years old. So especially understanding the old Renaissance masters, especially how they developed their style with layers, especially with all the oil paintings. But on top of that, their storytelling was so gripping, and it's something that a lot of us, we kind of associate with really quickly because of the imagery. It's similar likeness. And I wanted to really showcase that, especially the strength of storytelling, the strength of like really dramatic lighting with my pictures. And it's same with them looking, as you will go through, is they look a lot more painterly, more of a painterly feel. I wanted that feeling to look like it's a painting. I have a pretty lengthy time with studying oil painting. I did that for right around maybe 10 years. I've been studying different parts of art, drawing, painting, realism, and I really wanted to showcase that through something outside of just on a canvas. Like especially with this work, I really love that it still gives that same feeling of a painting whenever I am spending probably a year on one piece. But now I can do it in a shorter amount of time.
So as a painter, that's awesome that you spend up to a year on one piece. I don't think I would have the patience to do like probably more than a few weeks. So props to that. But as a painter, you have to understand how light works. So did you study lighting first, or were you also kind of into photography and crafting lighting while you were becoming a painter?
I started with studying primarily Caravaggio, specifically with the old masters. They didn't have a whole like super expensive lighting setup. They had one window probably in the corner of their house or a corner of their studio, and it was shining right on the model. So you only had very limited resources when it came to light, but you can still, especially with Caravaggio, tell a really deep and detailed story just in the small amount of resources that you might have. So with that, especially when I was studying painting, I did a lot of starting with a dark background and then bringing the subject into the light. Which is what I currently do quite a bit, especially with my imagery. You see a lot of really dark lighting around the subject, and then we have this burst of the key light, really highlighting the subject, really highlighting the story, or really highlighting like some sort of prop or element. So mixing that in, originally it was just drawing and painting. Then photography came right in around 2010. So I've been doing photography for about 10 years, and that's when I started studying more about just lighting as I was kind of going through my career with photography.
That's awesome. And before we started here, we were talking a little bit about what you do full time, which is completely different. So maybe start there. What do you do, full time? And then like, how are you using art in your spare time to fuel your passion?
So my primary job is I'm a supervisor at Dell Technologies. I'm over operations. I'm over tier 2 support, subject matter experts, software development, and just a regular level 1 team. And this is all on a technical help desk. So we help our customer with all their technical issues. I've been doing that for right around 10 years, so probably right around the same time I started doing photography. And photography was, again, like this really great outlet to just be able to have all my stresses pulled into like one place, be able to utilize drawing and painting, but just that creative mindset just within photography. It was another avenue that I didn't have to wait for a full year to get all the layers and everything done. I could just go shoot something, be able to go back to my house and just edit the pictures and be done with it. That really instant gratification. I really like that a lot more than the lengthy time. So now, especially with the fine art series, I particularly love to tell more deeper level stories, particularly around emotions. I currently I go to therapy, I take medication, like I'm really big on mental health, and just making sure that I can give people, especially my audience, some feel of hope, especially from the images. We're all dealing with a whole lot, especially since the pandemic, and that was where I could really disclose how I was feeling, how kind of everything around me was kind of coming towards me and how I was kind of dealing with it, especially when it came to really depression and anxiety. So it really helped me speak. I feel like talk more than what I could in person in real life.
Yeah, I love that. I'm a big advocate for going to therapy, and I think everyone should actually do it, even if you feel like you're okay. Like it's good to have someone to talk to, and that isn't your
Absolutely.
family and friends that you just dump on. So, how does art give you, I guess, an outlet? And like, are your ideas rooted from your painting? Do you feel like you're going to change your style, or are you going to stick with this for the time being?
I'm definitely exploring already more outside of this style. So already I'm just trying to see more of like how I can express what I want to say outside of the studio, because everything that I believe nearly everything except for one image is primarily in a studio. So I've been, especially since the pandemic where we had no choice but to go inside and stay inside, I have really not been able to get out and just try different other settings, different other lighting setups. So I would really love to try to do more with it, be able to say more. And that's where I think also it helps me with my own mental health and like making me stay, to me, happier is whenever I'm creating. Like whenever I'm creating something, I'm able to, let's just say I'm having a rough like couple weeks where my depression's really hard. Like I can fully go through this process of understanding what it is, create a story, and then like have my assistant help me shoot myself, and then we can tell more than just me sitting in it, me just sitting here, going through the usuals with depression and sulking in it. I'd rather kind of let go of it. I'd rather really be more vulnerable with it and share it and express how I'm feeling with my art.
Yeah, I love that. So as someone who has what sounds like a great career is the goal to like one day, do art full time, or are you pretty much happy with the balance of kind of both?
I eventually would like to do it full time. Ever since I'm gonna say 3 years old, like I knew I wanted to be an artist. I knew that's what I wanted to do. To be able to do that full time would be fantastic. And I love my job. I love my team. It is very complex. It is very, there's always something new happening, and it's also more of a regular paycheck. That's a big thing too. With a creative, especially with a creative career, as most people probably know if they have both jobs, is you don't have that consistency. You don't have, always this paycheck will be here every 2 weeks. It's I have to work my butt off to try to get, meat, food this week,
Yeah.
and that's how it's gonna be. And that part of it is what kind of keeps me from taking that super big jump. I have a son, I have an 11-year-old son, so I'm also a dad. So I have like other responsibilities other than just myself.
Yeah, the stress of being an artist can be overwhelming when financially it might not be working out, or if a lot of our audience are working full time, and honestly, a lot of them don't want to do this full time. They're doing this in their spare time because it's cathartic and it allows them to express themselves. So I love the fact that you're trying to get there, and you probably will, because your work is amazing.
Thank
And
you.
I feel like we keep talking about it, and I normally wait to the very end to go over someone's Instagram, but I think we should get into it right now because it's so unique. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go right into your Instagram. So let's start with your name. You came up with this for a very specific reason online. You want to tell the story of why you're going by this?
Yeah, so Eugnell is my middle name. Something very, very unique about it is I tried searching for this a long time ago, especially when I started my business. But whenever you Googled Eugnell, I didn't find anybody else except for myself, which made it very unique, especially when if I can utilize that as my branding, people, if they ever Googled it or utilized it, I would be the one that would show up. So it really helped with kind of driving the more unique aspect of what I was trying to get from my photography and really showcase me. That this was, my work.
Yeah, I love it. So if you're watching, listening, SEO, when you're coming up with your artist name, if you haven't already, if you don't want to go by your name, search it. And if you don't find it, you can probably more easily dominate that keyword. All right. So we've been starting with everyone's first image here, and it looks like it's pinned. So what's the story here?
So this was from it's the Fallen Angel. That's what I use as a reference, which a lot of people might know. It's a painting. I'll have to remember the artist, but we reference essentially this one, and this was when I was in Los Angeles. I frequently fly out to LA and New York, and this was a model. Her name was Alex. So we were wrapping up, I believe, like one of our last sessions in LA with my most recent trip, and particularly Alex really wanted to do this shot. So this was a representation of the fallen angel after God cast down Lucifer. So particularly this with the eye, especially if you go to the details, will show like that really particular stare at the eye. And I really wanted to showcase that drama, kind of that hurt feeling within the portrait, within her face, and really wanted to showcase our wings. These wings that she's wearing too are custom made. They're real wings. They kind of fold out, made by my assistant Brandy. So being able to showcase off the prop, being able to really represent that painting, that reference painting. Same with the details here, because this is all about 4 or 5 images stitched together. Primarily use Photoshop. So we take one core reference and then we stitch all the other images together. And then came up with this particular shot. I love how it came out. I love the drama of the lighting. Really loved what Alex did with the stare within their eyes, and then the same with the tension in the hands as well.
Yeah. So when you say you use 4 or 5 images, are you like comping in different placements of the arms, or is it a background? Like what exactly was comped in?
Yeah, so the foot, so usually it's like broken down into different pieces because I want to get a really high resolution shot. So we have the kind of the core shot, which is going to be her with her legs, and then the head, and then the arms. So with her arms, I might have switched it out and had a different shot there. So I did switch out the arms. I got the foot to where I really wanted it to be, so I got a different foot for the original shot. And then the backdrops are all added in post production. So all of the backdrops for the most part nowadays are AI. So I utilize Midjourney to create those, and then I add them in post. So all of that kind of comes together first, and then I do all of my Photoshop editing on top of it.
That's so cool. It's such a good use of AI, like it doesn't, you're still creating a lot of original stuff, but the backgrounds and the locations, it's so expensive to like actually go to these places or like produce that. So it's such a good use and efficient use of AI. I love it.
Thank you.
What do you shoot everything on? What's your gear?
I have a Canon 5D Mark IV. I also have a Sigma 35mm art. I love the art series. Those just really beautiful color and lighting that comes through with those lenses. So I also use the Eugnell. It's a pretty inexpensive lighting setup. I usually use 3 Eugnell strobes. All have different gels on them, just film gels. They're plastic. They're super cheap, maybe about $10 for a whole bunch of them. And we utilize all 3 of those in different locations within the studio, depending on what we're shooting. On top of that, I have some Godox diffusers, well, I think that's it. That's usually about it. And then the backdrop, it's just, regular fabric. I think it's a cape backdrop, and then we have fabrics for the floor as well.
That's awesome. And it looks like, yeah, is this lightning? It's a little further away. Yeah. All right, sweet. All right, so give me the story on this shot. Is this another inspiration from a Renaissance painter?
No, we actually had this particular outfit. We were collaborating with a brand, Broke Boutique. They're I believe a lingerie company specifically. But we received this piece in the mail, and we did a couple sessions with it. This shot, I really wanted to especially play around with how their hair was coming up, kind of that feeling when lightning is around, whenever the hair starts to kind of fly up in that environment. I really wanted to play around with that, and I love the lighting at the top. I love having what I call the holy light, which is the lighting. I have a top light that has a gel on it, and having that and having the subject really open up to that lighting really gives this dramatic look, this dramatic feel. And with that, this is Yvette. Her name is Yvette. That's the model's name. She is absolutely insane when it comes to different poses. So completely killed it with this particular session. The gold wings, again, done by Brandy Hogan. She created those. Those are ones that are in our studio. We utilize those for our different models and clients. So all of it, again, wanted to be showcased in this shot. And I think that top lighting really helped highlight the chains in the outfit.
Yeah.
Especially letting that light kind of come all the way down, hitting that bottom part of the chain. And I think that overall it helped with movement of the eye and just the overall composition with the lightning at the top too, kind of the light coming all the way down.
Yeah, I love that. So one of the challenges, and I don't know, it could not be a challenge anymore, but when we recently did a tutorial with backdrops, enlarging them to match the resolution of, like, let's say a 5D Mark IV, it's a little bit challenging. So are you running into that, or is it less problematic since you're dealing with stuff that's maybe a little more out of focus, a little darker, things like clouds?
It makes it a lot easier because that, just like you mentioned, that darker background kind of helps it not showcase as much of like maybe a lower resolution, even though these are pretty high. I'm utilizing Topaz AI to actually upscale a lot of the actual painting. So the AI portion of it really helps with cleaning it up and making it look more high resolution.
That's awesome.
So AI is helping really with those particular issues to where it makes it really easy to put a subject in an actual environment without it, costing it to look unreal, less real.
Yeah. Did you know I didn't know this, but when we did our fine art tutorial with Hemi, she actually had been reaching out to museums, and they'll send you the full resolution scan of just about anything if you want to use it. So like we were printing like famous paintings and like comping them together, and they don't charge you anything. They just ask to maybe make a donation and give them credit. So that's not something you've done yet. Check out a lot of different museums, and they'll give you like actual like Caravaggio paintings.
Yeah, and I was getting a lot of my original ones from have you heard of the Rejuke Museum? And I think it's
Yeah,
in
in the Netherlands.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
They have all of their paintings scanned, beautiful paintings, and
Yeah.
that's what I originally used were those particular paintings.
Yeah, it's like the super. I've gotten a few Rembrandts. I'm
Yep.
just like, you're gonna give me the full 300 DPI scan of Rembrandt? Yep.
And
That's all.
great to use.
Yeah.
And this particular shot, I really love this shot. This is my assistant Brandy. We were testing out, I think, this particular lighting for one of the first times. And she loves this Wonder Woman outfit. She's amazing. She wears it quite a bit. But this beautiful outfit I wanted to again like highlight, especially with the clouds, really give that feel of kind of Wonder Woman falling through the clouds. Especially with the rope she had the rope prop. I love the boots especially, but really particularly the gold. I love pulling out especially the color on this one. Within Photoshop, I usually try to isolate all of the different colors within the image and really kind of pull them back in individually. So pulling the red back in, pulling the blue in, because it doesn't, normally going to look like this, and just adding that on top. But I really love the kind of the elegance of this, especially with her kind of looking like she's falling through those clouds.
Yeah. So how many, like, where does are these all like, I can't quite tell, which makes it even awesome. So are all of these like the material that you get, or at some point does it turn into like AI clouds?
All of those really just polyfill. It's just polyfill. Really just how we shoot it with the kind of the dramatic lighting. Really helps it kind of clean it up a little bit more. And we also I use a little bit more smoothing on some of the cloud portion, but all of it's polyfill. All of that one is.
Are you using Capture One, Lightroom, just Photoshop?
Just Photoshop.
Just Photoshop. Nice. So like all of your skin work has this very, painterly feel, and it looks like a painting. So how are you approaching like post-production with skin specifically?
I utilize a lot of primarily the Greater Than Gatsby collection, their tool set. I love their skin smoother. It is kind of probably like one of the best I've ever used. So I utilize that, but then on top of that, I utilize the curves to kind of break down the shadows and the light. So a lot of those mixed in kind of help create that more smoothing skin tone that you see in most of the pictures.
Yeah, really cool. What's the story behind this photo?
So this one, this was a light and dark concept from a client in New York City. Her name is Laura Marie. She was actually on Ink Master. So particularly all the ink that you see, all the black that you see on her, is actually tattoo ink. So
wow. Oh my gosh, this had to be so painful. The whole foot?
It was, oh, it's not tattooed, it's just the ink that we put on her at the time. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. I was gonna say, this is a bold move. Can you imagine having your toes tattooed? Oh,
that does not sound fun whatsoever. No. But with this, like, she really wanted to do a concept, particularly with that ink, and I really loved. Wanted to go a more darker route, so we have more of the shadow in here and just the light kind of coming on the left side. And with that, just had her playing with like a piece of light and in the story, because along with these images, I usually write like some sort of poetry or some sort of just thought on the side along with the images to explain like kind of what the image is about, what I'm feeling from the image, or just give some additional story to the image.
Yeah, I love
So
that.
yeah,
All right, so this is you, a little self
yes,
portrait.
that would be me.
And is this a halo? Are you holy?
No, so all of my halos, except for maybe like a couple, I always do in post-production. So all of that is done in Photoshop. So that's usually to highlight the subject, because I really like having that. I don't know. For me now, it's more of a signature to have a halo in some way, shape, or form in a shot. So I think
Yeah,
there's at least one in every picture since I started this series.
I love this. And you even have like the wardrobe, like you're, in from the Renaissance area, uh, that timepiece. You know what I mean? Like the shirt, you could easily come off as like old school painter. So I love it.
Thank you.
All right, which of these do you want to go to that might have a unique story? I mean, they're all
Um,
so great. Any stand out?
Well, if you scroll up to the right, the one with the red fabric and the girl laying in the grass.
This one right here.
Yeah. So this one in particular, I mentioned that I finally got out of the studio. So I went to New York City, and this was after I had wrapped up all my studio sessions. I went to my friend Yvette's home, and we were pretty much just trying to experiment with a different session. Yvette is an amazing stylist. She has tons of different outfits and different collections that she makes. So we went into their backyard. It was at night. We threw down some fabric, and what I'm trying to also study more of is color theory. Try to understand just how the different colors match up, how they all kind of come together. So I was really just trying to play along and figure out ways to incorporate different colors within the shot. So we have the green grass, we have the red fabric, which are complementary colors, and I try to get a feel of more of a purple inside of the. It's more of a nude color outfit that she's wearing on as a skirt on to help complement the yellow lighting that we have. So those double complements I was trying to go for, and really that's what I'm kind of experimenting with now, is trying to evolve and figure out how to get outside of the studio and do more outside, do more with more props, and do more just more creative work.
I love that. So it sounds like you're traveling quite a bit. I see like New York, and I think you mentioned LA. You're based in Oklahoma City. So are your clients hiring you? Are these like collaborations to travel, or how's that work?
I primarily do have clients in those locations, so I usually book clients in Los Angeles and in New York City. I also go to Dallas because it's pretty close to Oklahoma City, so it's not too far. Um, and then I also work with different influencers or different clients or different designers in all those different locations. So it's great to just work with other people, with other artists, and come up with like maybe a new story or a new concept. So it usually is a mix of both, but primarily they're going to be like paid clients whenever I go there.
Yeah, I see someone's. Is this AI or photography? So are you getting a lot of people in the comments like saying this is just AI?
I definitely have. People really assume that it is all AI. So that's why I try to add like a lot more of the details so you can see that this is not AI. These are real people. I always mention that, I utilize AI. I utilize Midjourney for the backdrops. And then I've been really loving the generative fill that Adobe has come out with. It's been extremely helpful with just my entire process overall.
Yeah,
But I do get those comments a lot.
certainly a way to explore creativity more quickly is what I love about the generative fill, and like not have to like really put in like hours of work to comp something in only to not like it.
Exactly.
Very
Um,
cool. So is the backdrop you're shooting on, is it just like a gray backdrop and then you're comping this in, or
It is a dark brown fabric backdrop, one of the Cape backdrops. They're like the 10-foot by 10-foot one. It's what I usually travel with. So it's just this huge dark backdrop. So it allows us to, especially with adding the AI backdrop in, what we do, or what I primarily do, is add a layer, and erase the layer to allow that dark backdrop in, allow those shadows in, which kind of hides a lot of the fabric a little bit more, but also hides kind of the detail of the backdrops, because the backdrops aren't going to be, the main thing that I want people to see. I want people to see the subject. I don't
Yeah.
want it to lose any focus from the subject, which especially when you think about like maybe the Mona Lisa, where we have like the background was very smoky, was very like blurred out in the background, but still gives that feel of the environment. That's what I was trying to go for. That's what I
Yeah.
usually try to go for.
So I think we're pretty much there, but I think in the next year you're going to be able to like swap out her outfit. So do you
Oh
think
yeah.
that's going too far with AI? If like you're like, hey, let's add 6 different variations of this outfit and like zhuzh it up a little bit. So if that becomes super available, is that something you would explore? Or you're like, no, that's where I draw the line.
That is a pretty big area where I draw a line, because that takes the place of a designer. And I think AI is coming up with some pretty amazing things, but I really love the aspect that, this was created by a human, this was designed by a human kind of idea. Clearly there's going to be concepts where, I sometimes I have an Amazon outfit. And maybe I'll change, something along the lines with something like that. But if I still want to continue to work with, real designers, people that are uh, really using these materials, creating these unique pieces, because I feel like that's going to be more unique than an AI developed item. It's just to me.
Yeah, and it kind of just takes the soul out of the photo when, you're collaborating with less people and you're just like churning out a bunch of stuff that isn't a collaboration. It just kind of feels like cheating.
Exactly.
Oh, this one's cool. So here's the behind the scenes. So this looks like a 3-light setup.
Yep.
Nice.
It's like if you pause right there. So with this, I have kind of the where is it? The undiffused light on the left side whenever I was shooting there.
Yep.
So right there, that's usually my key. And just having that, usually with the bright gel on it, different gels, you can really do more with that particular one light than probably any of the other 2 lights. So the other 2 lights are just fill lights. But I really try to go for the key light and having the subject, whatever is really critically happening from that light, really to replicate that window in the wall kind of thing in the studio,
Yeah.
like the old artist did.
Yep. The streaming in. Love that. Oh, this one's pretty sweet. So is this the same model?
Yes.
Yeah, the same lighting setup. I mean, come on. That is like, are you printing this like huge on canvas? Or like,
No, I'm not. I want to. I definitely want to.
right? Would you do it on canvas? Like, I know a lot of people that print or like never print on canvas. I personally like canvas. It's a lot cheaper than like, fine art printing is pretty expensive, especially to frame it. So if you had your choice, are you doing fine art printing? You're going to put it behind glass? Like, what would you do?
I would definitely rather it not be behind glass. I like if it's stretched on canvas, but I also like the matte prints and just like maybe make a custom frame for it myself.
Yeah.
But I probably would rather go with canvas, because they should be stretched. They should be like on a pretty large scale too. Have some tapestries too, like something large scale is how I see a lot of these pictures.
Yeah, it would be so badass. So would you ever like print this out and then almost like paint over it if that's something that you do, or is that no need?
I wouldn't. I've never thought of doing that. I've honestly never thought of doing that before. What I usually do is, originally when I started photography, it was to along with like the instant gratification, I was trying to take better pictures for my paintings. So that kind of just started the career because I was like, this is quicker, this is faster. But now I'm trying to go the opposite way. Now I'm doing a lot of photography and I really want to paint some of these. So I started drawing kind of large scale drawings of these along with working on painting again.
Oh,
So
very cool.
it's been great to kind of go full circle back to what I started with.
So have you completed one of these yet?
No, I'm currently, I think
Like, it
I'm
takes a
still
year. Give
there.
me a
Yeah, it's like I have a large scale drawing that I'm working on right now, but nothing like too crazy just yet.
So would you
Um,
draw it when you say drawing, are you using like pencil to do this?
yep,
And then like,
just
are
a
you gonna color
regular,
in?
just a regular mechanical pencil.
Just a number 2 mechanical pencil?
Yep.
Or wait, I can't tell if you're being serious or not.
No, I'm being complete. It's this
Really?
pencil. Yep, this is what I'm
Just
using to do it.
just like it's not like a special one, is it just straight off the shelf Bic number 2?
I think this costs like maybe $1
Oh,
from Walmart. So I that's a big thing for me is like I learned how to use very cheap supplies. My art teacher was very resourceful when it came to how we were disciplined.
I know, man. I would. Have you been in like a Dick Blick or like an art store? Like,
Yeah,
holy shit, art supplies through the roof expensive.
absolutely.
Yeah, that would be just incredibly. Oh, this is pretty badass.
This was in Los Angeles as well. So this was a client of mine. This client, she actually made the chainmail outfit that she's wearing, which was beautiful. It was amazing. Highlighted extremely well in the lighting. The sword, I believe that's her sword. So she brought all that along, and then I really wanted to really highlight that tattoo. That tattoo was amazing. It's a Medusa tattoo.
Oh, cool.
So it goes like all the way up along her side, but all of it kind of gave this reminiscence of pretty much the devil, Satan, a demon. And then we had the makeup done. We had a hair and makeup artist there as well. And we had the black wings that we were bringing along with us too.
And the feathers for these wings, are they real feathers? Are these fake feathers?
They're real feathers. I believe they're goose feathers.
Oh, okay. So what's the most challenging thing when you're approaching a shoot like this? Is it like what is it? Like what challenges you the most on something?
Um, for me, it's making sure the story is coming across perfectly. That's one element that from the masters I'm really trying to understand and try to do myself. Because when you look at one of their paintings, like every little detail down to the composition, down to what props are in the actual painting, everything has meaning. For me, my process is usually starting off with the story first, understanding like what we're trying to convey, and then we go through the props that are going to be needed. What is kind of what is the model going to be doing? Are they going to be laying down? They're going to be standing up. They're going to be jumping. And what do we want to highlight? But also still try to keep those elements of color theory and still keep those elements of kind of originally, I guess, like what we're going for. Just keeping all that in mind and creating that harmony with a picture. Like it's extremely hard to do.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
but a lot of things I'm starting to understand, the simpler the better. When you get too complicated, I feel like the story gets lost. So now it's just, okay, you're laying on the ground. This is Pandora's box, because this one I really love. This was particularly Pandora's box. Um, I wanted the element to highlight is the box. Like I want the box to be kind of the big item that we want to showcase. So what do we do as far as posing around the box? What do we do with it? So then we go from there, and that's where this shot came from.
So what is the story of Pandora's box? It's something you hear a lot, but I don't think a lot of people know exactly what the hell it means.
What is it like when when Pandora opened the box, she opened up, I believe evil was in the box. I can't remember. But particularly this box was given to her from someone else. And she unintentionally let evil into the world. I think that really is kind of the core of the story. So with this, not really knowing what it is, you're just tempted by the box. So then you open it and then you release all the evils in the world. That is just kind of showcasing, I don't know, more of you might be unaware of the danger that you're in by what others might be placing you into, kind of thing.
Yep.
Got to
I
trust who
couldn't
you
not
trust.
open that box. You're telling me I would always try to sneak and see what my Christmas presents are like well before Christmas. I would open the shit out of this box every time. Don't trust me to
Exactly.
Pandora's box for sure.
In this particular shot too, so this is Yvette, and she created the box. She actually made the box. And same with her shoes. The shoes are all 3D printed.
Oh wow.
Same with the box from the what is it? They're online. You can actually get CAD/CAM files of all the famous Roman statues, so you can just do whatever
Really?
you want with them.
So like this is 3D printed?
The column is not, but the Pandora's box is, and her shoes are.
Oh wow. So this was a CAD drawing that you can get online?
Yep. And then she put it all together and created the shoes out of
Whoa.
it.
That's dedication.
She's incredible. She's
So
absolutely
and
incredible.
she's a stylist or
Prop maker, stylist, photographer, and model. She does quite a bit.
she's like, I'm gonna do it all. No one's stopping me from anything. I love that. How has collaborating really like helped you create? Like collaboration with artists can sometimes, be hard because everyone wants to, have their own, opinions come out and creativity come out. So like when working with other people, like maybe what advice do you have to, bring out the best in a project like this?
Um, when I first got started, it was me and an ex of mine, and what we would primarily do, because we're two different artists and we're all trying to get, the best picture that we can. Really, it was nice to give the other person time to create and then take a break and like understand and see that workflow of like what they're doing, and then like kind of talk about it. Like just go through images, talk about it, see what we can change, see what the other person is thinking. That really, I feel like, helps evolve one another when you can be vulnerable with another artist and get their honest opinion about something because you trust their eye. Uh, and also you can share, your thoughts. You're able to share your thoughts of like that concept. It's like, what if you did this? Or what if you tried this? It gives you a different mindset that is in the session with you, to kind of maybe see things that you don't normally see, just to get you out of your mindset of like what you always do every single time.
That's awesome. Yeah, these are so cool. And like it's such a faint halo.
Yeah.
So like what's the process of you making this halo? Are you doing this all by hand?
So that, yes, everything is the shape tool in Photoshop. So what I do is usually I just create the circle and then I angle the circle with the shape tool, and I clearly get rid of the middle part and just have the outline filtered. So I pull the color in usually from the shot, from the actual shot. So I'm making sure I get the same colors that are in the image already. And then I just adjust the shape to where it's facing the same directions that the eyes are. So I try to go along the same path as the eyes.
Oh, very cool. Looks like you have it down to a science. And have you tried to have Adobe Generative Fill make halos, or how bad are they at it?
They are working on it.
So halos are a work in progress.
They're working on it.
They could do penguins real good, I found out. I put a penguin in a family photo the other day, and everyone was like, what in the hell? There was a penguin there? They killed a penguin. Not halo.
They've been great.
So if, you kind of alluded to this earlier, but if you were to change your style, are you going to have to start a whole nother Instagram account, or are you going to like just start posting a different style of photo on the same one?
That's a good question. I haven't thought that far. I think maybe starting another one gives less pressure on it to me. It would be nice to just kind of start over and not really be super just, fine art and Renaissance, maybe kind of do whatever I want. So probably be a new Instagram.
How have you like? Do you have a strategy for growing, your your following and like kind of knowing who's following you, or how are you growing your Instagram account? Because you've got a decent amount of followers. Looks like
I
pretty good growth.
uh that's where I wish I had more time to dedicate myself to growing more. Um, Primarily for me, it's my primary job, and then I'm a dad, and then like photography kind of comes third. Um, Particularly, what I try to do is post some photography Facebook groups. The people that I usually shoot, they share they share my work, the pictures I do of them all the time. Really just word of mouth. I have some ads going as far as Facebook ads. Every once in a while, I'll boost a post, so that helps get me some followers. That's really about it. I don't post reels very often. It's really hard to like just sit down and do that. But outside of that, it's mostly word of mouth and Facebook groups.
Yeah. So I mean, some of your work is a little risque, right? With
Yeah.
excessive skin. So have you had any of your posts or account like get flagged? Are you like you've been in Facebook, Instagram jail yet?
I've had a couple of pieces get flagged, which I unfortunately did have to remove. So that does kind of come with a lot of the boudoir sessions, especially. So I have gotten flagged just a couple times, but nothing crazy. They usually forgive me, and like they go and I request for them to just take another look, and they usually approve it, and it's fine.
Yeah,
But
the manual review, like everyone's like getting taken down usually by a bot that just like machine learns what excessive skin is, but it's such a weird like where do they draw the line and what does and what doesn't? Because there's some huge accounts that like it's basically porn.
yeah,
They never get flagged, and it's like this doesn't seem fair.
I definitely have seen that, and then we have to just clearly go through a lot just to make sure we don't get flagged at this point. But so far it's been all right.
Nice. So when do you have a strategy when you like boost a post? Are you boosting locally? Are you just boosting worldwide?
I primarily boost in areas that I am planning to go to again, or so it's usually going to be LA, New York, Dallas, and Oklahoma City.
Nice. So do you do any teaching? Are you going to have any workshops of how you're creating these? I'm sure that would
Um,
be super popular.
I've had one so far, I learned from that particular one of what I need to do next. So right now I'm working on editing videos for the future. I am working on being able to shadow for a session. I am working on one-on-one sessions as well. As far as a workshop, might be probably a far future one, but I do plan on doing a workshop as well.
Workshops are really hard. You can't fit that many people into a room and everyone wants to be able to shoot. And, in my experience, like everyone's also coming in at like different, experience levels. So like having to cater to that many people in like such a short amount of time, like teaching workshops is really hard. So props to going down that road. I love it.
Absolutely. But it's great to see whenever you show somebody the process is what they do with it. I love being able to also evolve more myself because I don't always feel like there's more for me to learn. So it's great to teach others, see what they do with it, and see like if I can learn from them.
Yeah, I love that. Jake Hicks taught two of our colored gel workshops. He's kind of the king of colored gels. He said it, pretty bluntly. He's like, I'm going to tell you exactly how I do what I do, and you still won't make stuff that looks like mine.
Yep.
Because there's so many creative decisions that you have to make that even if you know the recipe, you're going to put your own spin on it most likely. And sure, some people copy others just to like, say that, that might be their style or just to see if they could do it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, like you're going to have your own interpretation of whether it's the styling or the lighting or the post-production. There's just too many decisions to be made from like the initial idea to final delivery that make it your own. So I love the fact that you're very specific on your style, and keeping that consistency is really hard to do.
I agree. It's nice to also kind of evolve with it too, because through that, especially if you're just trying to, better your current process, better what you're doing now. I don't know, it's just now I have gotten more ideas. Now there's more stories that I can start creating because I've learned over time and stuck with the same thing, more consistently. So
Yeah.
I'm really, it makes me more excited about the future with the work as well. Just continue creating.
So if you had a budget, let's say of 10 grand, what would you shoot? So is there something now that's like limiting your ability to create, or is it really just your ability to come up with it?
Definitely not my ability to come up with it, and more of just like the ability to actually, get the place, the location, get the props that I would really want. But there's quite a bit that I could do with that kind of budget. It'd be great. So be able to get the studio location, be able to get everything that I need, the amount of models, and like the whole thing designed out would be no problem. To me, would be no problem.
So are you finding models and then paying them, or a lot of your shoots collaborative and they want to do it because it's so unique that they deem the opportunity is worth working for free?
Usually it's collaborative, and they deem it, especially the benefit on themselves is they get a lot of attention like with the images. Usually it is unique. It's not something that they've done before. It's not a type of session that they've done before. So that helps on their own page with the, gaining followers, gaining likes. So it helps them out too. For me, it helps with me utilizing their following, so I get more followers myself and I get business, especially if they're in a different state. If they're in a different state, that helps with, like, let's just say my TFPs that I do in New York City, they will help advertising for whenever I'm going there to make sure that, I get clients whenever I go there, so I get paid.
Yeah. So what tips might you have for someone who might want to like reach out to, whether it's models or prop stylists or hair and makeup? Like, what's a great way or recipe for them to say yes?
Really just making sure that there's something in it for them. Everybody, at the end of the day, we are doing this, we love doing this, but we're also not, trying to do everything for free, technically. Like, it's just more about what can I do to help them out? Can I shout them out? Can I display their work somehow? Can we really do something to help that person out? And I think whenever you do that and you keep that in mind first, I think usually there is a good trade-off. It usually ends up pretty well. But sometimes you're gonna get no. Sometimes people just can't do it.
Yeah, totally. So when you're on set, creating like a vibe and like definitely a comfortable environment for everyone is super important as an artist, especially the photographers kind of setting the pace. So how do you approach these sets, and like, what do you do to create like a really cool environment for everyone to feel like they can express themselves?
Definitely beforehand, I try to make sure we have some sort of communication that they've seen my face at some point, that they know who I am. We've talked before. So just making sure that ahead of time they know um, really upfront what to expect when they walk in the door a little bit more. I feel like that makes them more comfortable of like what they're getting into instead of like this unknown place, this unknown location. Um, but particularly, I always have an assistant with me, and I always tell them that they can have a +1. You're always allowed a +1. You're always allowed to have somebody with you to make you feel comfortable. And then we talk through ahead of time just what we're going to shoot. So I explain like this is the concept, this is kind of the story that we're going with. These are the props that we're going to use. This is the outfits. Usually I have their measurements, their size, and I have everything ready. So just being organized and just upfront with the client and the model helps I feel like dramatically helps them make sure that they're comfortable. And we never do anything unsafe or uncomfortable whenever they're in a studio, and I always have somebody to help me as well.
I love that. I love all your answers, to be honest. You seem like you'd be an awesome person to collaborate with and just be on set creatively and be open to really cool ideas. So I love that. A question that we really get the most from people watching that we're now just asking always is, what advice do you have for photographers that are starting out that maybe feel the need that they need to be creative, but really don't know where to start or what to do?
Really for me, I just sit down and I write a lot. Really getting some sort of idea out where there's like no judgment, just having that ability to either talk it out with someone or write something down and just come up with an idea just to be creative with no judgment of anything, like being able to express yourself. I think being able to do that in some way, shape, or form to start really helps with trying to get an idea out, and then you're able to see more of like what you're trying to achieve, like with a goal, with a photography goal or anything, especially with being creative and starting out in fine art photography.
Yeah. Well, I love that. So what's the next 6 months for you look like? What's the next big shoot you're planning?
I'm going to Dallas at the middle of December. I'm shooting a couple people there. Also booking some sessions out there. Then it'll be Los Angeles next summer and New York next October. And then at some point trying to go international, try to make it out to the UK.
I love it. I love it. Well, I really appreciate your time. It was great to meet you. Hopefully, if at any point you're doing a workshop in the Midwest near St. Louis, let us know. We'd love to attend it. But Absolutely. We really appreciate your time, and can't wait to see what the next style is going to be.
Yeah, excited to show everybody and just ready for the future.
Outside of your Instagram, which is at Eugnell, where should people go to see more of your work?
They can also go to my website at www.eugnell.com.
Nice. So that was available too. You really hit it out of the park with that.
Thank
branding
you.
Everywhere, which is really hard to do. It's really hard to get the same website, Instagram account, and then everything else. So that's awesome.
Helps with Googling it first just to see like if it's out there. It definitely helps.
Yeah. Hell yeah. All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, make sure to follow Eugnell on Instagram, and we will catch you in the next episode.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
This podcast is officially over. See you next time. Catch you a little later on down the trail, dude. Thanks for listening. I get out of here and start shooting.
I can remember very distinctly one of the very first classes. You had to take one roll of film and tell a story. And you got 4x6 prints made of them and you put them on the wall. I remember watching some of the people's images go up on the board and being like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? These people are so talented.
I was a DJ. I worked a lot at night. Sort of felt that itch to do something else. And after some soul searching, the only thing that I was excited about doing was taking pictures.
And I would Photoshop myself into other places. And a lot of times it never even went online. I didn't care because it wasn't for necessarily the world. It was because I wished I was anywhere other than where I was.
I suppose academically I failed everything, so I was left with very few choices.
I was cater waitering. I'd work till 11, 12 o'clock at night, retouch until 3 or 4 in the morning. Even though I didn't really have the talent, I'd be willing to work when other people would sleep.
And at times I look at my work and I think, damn, I'm a shitty photographer. Fuck, it's nothing.
You have this idea of what can be done because you're assisting, and you just can't create it.
So often today's artists, I think we get ideas and we end up sitting on them and we don't follow through. I think we can be our worst enemies.
I will talk myself out of a project before I even begin it because I think about all the things that might go wrong or could go wrong.
When you first start out with doing anything, you've got like 5 people, one of those is your mum following you, and it's just like difficult to get accurate feedback.
You have to be willing to be rejected by the artwork, by yourself, by your peers.
We get worried what our peers are going to think. We get worried what the talent is going to think or what the celebrity is going to think.
And for me, it was always like, I understand that, but I also understand that you have to be passionate enough to throw the excuses aside and just start the process?
First struggling, then assisting full-time for 3 years, then struggling some more, then retouching, freelancing, getting my first job.
But I'll lay in bed and something will just pop in my head and I just go, what if? Wouldn't it be interesting if?
Try it. It didn't work, throw it out. Try it, it didn't work, throw it out. Try it, it works, it doesn't work, throw it out.
You know, you don't become a great photographer, you don't become a great painter, you don't become a great sculptor without having some downfalls and going in the wrong direction.
I allow myself to fail because I like to fail, because I like to grow. But you have to decide that you want it, because it's not easy to be great at anything.
Even though I'm not at the place I want to be, I'm still moving forward.
Nobody's going to love everything that we do. But I think you have to take a chance.